Love and law, there is one and not two. Never forget that. Anywhere in the universe, just one. That one life is the substance of everything. It is one in unity, but multiple in manifestation. It is one in substance, from which an infinite variety of different things come, but every one of those things is made out of the one big thing. Russell Anthony Gibbs wrote in The Principle of Oneness, choose to love every facet of yourself unconditionally. You are a complex, multidimensional being, and loving yourself requires identifying, accepting, and loving all of your seemingly separate parts. This includes your personal self, broader self, other people, the balance of the physical world, which is nature, activities, concepts, and the collective universe, God. Let us speak the truth of oneness together. Everything, everything that lives, manifests, and proclaims the glory of God. I love and cherish it all unconditionally. Yes, that includes my personal self and my broader self, everyone and every else, which means love. Thank you.
What did the Buddhist say to the pizza vendor?
Said, make me one with everything.
Exactly. Make me one with everything. Oneness, perfect. What did the mystic say to the hot dog vendor? Make me one with everything. Oh, so oneness. Wow. A grand concept. Oneness consciousness. Enlightenment, right? The awareness that everything emanates from the one. I just recently ran across a definition of the signs of enlightenment by Deepak Chopra, and he said there are really two signs of enlightenment. He said the first one is um, a lightheartedness, no worries, just a sense of the joy of being in the moment, the joy of life. And the second one had to do with an understanding of the miraculousness of life, that each and every moment is miraculous. And so there's an awareness of synchronicities and living in grace and being the flow of grace and living in grace and everything being interconnected, a sense of the miraculous. So my intention today is to help us deepen into that oneness consciousness, enlightened consciousness, and a sense of the miraculous, a sense of how we are continuously living in a state of grace, whether we realize it or not, but today we're going to be conscious of it and realize it. So let's take a breath. What I so love is the intersection between philosophy, the great spiritual teachings of all time, the great mystics, what they taught, and science, philosophy, and the mystics. They all are talking about the same thing. It's so cool to realize that. The philosophers talked about ultimate reality, and the great mystics talked about God, the universe, the great spirit, the all that is, Allah, Buddha, Brahma, eternal light, universal mind. And now the scientists, actually the scientists have been doing it for a while, the quantum people involved in quantum mechanics, they are speaking of this oneness as the unified field of energy, the unified field of energy. It's all one. There is, and Ernest Holmes says it. He says, there is only one. One, 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 one. Having multiple personalities, right? Each one of us branches of that one infinite universal mind that I call God, and you may call something else. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. This life that we live is a miracle. And when we think about it, so what have the quantum physicists found? I love all of this. I love this stuff. I just eat it up. In this book that I'm reading right now, or that I just finished reading, called The Principle of Oneness, about how to experience the miraculous and the sense of oneness, by Russell Anthony Gibbs, not a very big book, but it is packed with information that will take you deep, help you do a deep dive into this realm of the miraculous. Because here's the thing, and even Einstein finally came to this realization. What we call matter, there really is no matter. It's an illusion created by consciousness. That's what they've been discovering. Of course, the mystics have told us that forever, but the quantum scientists are saying, wow, this is like, when we go all the way down to this quantum level, it's all energy at different frequencies and vibrations. And these, they call it string theory, these strings of energy going to lower vibrations, which some call collapsing or colliding, that appears to our five senses as form, right? But yet at the quantum level, it's like a big bunch of space and energy, and it's particles, what they call particles, which are collapsed energy going into particles and particles going to energy, and it's this huge dance and swirling stuff that's going on down there. And we are living in this thing called human life, where everything feels solid, it looks solid, it's we hear things. It's, to me, it's like it blows the mind. In fact, I want to read a quote by Niels Bohr, one of the quantum physicists. He said, "If quantum mechanics hasn't profoundly shocked you, you haven't understood it. Everything we call real is made of things that cannot be regarded as real." And I go back to the beautiful quotes by the mystic Rumi. He said, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." And even Carl Sagan, the great scientist, said, "The cosmos is within us." When you think of the amazing level of intelligence from which all of this arises, to transform energy into things that appear solid when in truth they are not, it's amazing. Rumi also said, "I am not this hair, I am not this skin, I am the soul that lives within." That's what we are in truth. That frees us. That awareness frees us. And we begin to realize that when we are looking around us, and this is where physics comes in and shows us there's no separation, between us. It's all an illusion. So wherever we're looking, we are looking upon ourselves. Some aspect of ourselves is all around us. Take a moment, look around and take that in. Everyone and everything, even the chairs and the floor and the candles, everything are aspects of ourselves. It's a feedback loop that lets us know who we are. Isn't it a beautiful feedback loop? I mean, I'm looking at all of you going, wow. So everything is the same at the core. That's the principle. That's one of the principles of oneness. Also, everything has a degree of consciousness. That's the other thing that they've found out. And of course, the great mystics have told us the same thing. Even that chair has consciousness. Dirt has consciousness. Mother Earth has consciousness. Everything is alive and has consciousness of one degree or another. And so everything is part of one collective consciousness. We could say we are branches of the one, and we are also the collective one. And if that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what will. And that's why, you've probably heard Deepak Chopra and others talk about the idea that we are the universe. Each one of us is a universe in and of ourselves. That's where the concept of multiverses comes in. I finally got that. Each one of us is a universe. We have our own unique view of life, made up of our particular consciousness as part of the collective consciousness. We have individuated universal consciousness and created a universe of our own. And that's why no people see everything the same way, because we're all living in our own self-created universe according to our beliefs and our thoughts. Look around the room and consider that. You're looking at people in this room that all have their own universe. And yet they are all a part of us. We're one with all of each other. Wow. I get God bumps just thinking about it. So consciousness, everything has consciousness. And another aspect of consciousness too, to think about it, is let me define consciousness, okay? It's a quality of awareness, a form of energy. Remember, everything's energy, and the source of our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. And our own consciousness and the collective consciousness controls the vibrational frequencies of energy that form the physical reality. And this is what's so cool, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Our beliefs and our thoughts cause energy to collide and smash to form something that looks to us. It lowers the vibrational frequencies and looks to us like something solid or liquid or whatever, but looks like what we would call matter, but it's really not matter. It's energy. Energy just at a lower frequency. The next concept in oneness that I want to share with you is the idea that the universe, God, is a democracy of one. It's not a dictatorship. It's a democracy of one. Every one of us are in charge of our own universe. we all have a vote. We all have a vote in the universe. And what are those votes? Anybody guess? How do we vote? Yeah, choice. Thoughts. Our choices, our thoughts, our beliefs are our particular votes in the universe. Our particular votes. A democracy. A democracy of one multiple personality. We can think of God as being a multiple personality being. Bless you. So we just sneezed, by the way. Okay. The other thing is, I need to take my sweater off. I'm heating up. And Buddha says, one who experiences the unity of life sees the self in all beings. We've been just talking about this. So everyone that we cross is a reflection of our own consciousness, and we talked about this being a feedback loop. And so when I look at it that way, how can I not help but love everyone and everything? When I get into that consciousness of oneness, I can only love. I can only love everyone and everything because it's all a part of the one, all a part of the essence of who I am. Yeah, love is the only choice from that perspective. Love is the only choice. So again, Gibbs talks about the self with a capital S being personal and what he calls the broader self, which means other people, what we would call other people. The balance of the physical world, that's another extension of the self. And then the collective God. That's what oneness is. It's realizing it's all one. The one that is the diversity of the one that becomes the many. So this is how it works then in real life. If we love ourselves, it's easier to love others. If we have compassion for ourselves, it's much easier to have compassion for others. And the reverse as well. If we hate others, we're truly hating ourselves. If we think about harming others, or if we harm others, we're harming ourselves. This idea of oneness really gets us clear on how we want to think of and treat others and how we want to act, the kinds of actions we want to take. So one of the ways that we can purify our consciousness is through emotions. Emotions are beautiful signs and signals of where we are in consciousness. Uncomfortable emotions let us know that we've gotten off track from oneness, that we're into separation. Resentment, anger, hatred, shame, guilt. All of those things let us know we've gotten off track. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't take action. I want to make this one thing I want to make very clear. This still means that we love ourselves, we care for ourselves, which means we don't get out of balance in our lives. So oneness and having healthy boundaries actually work together beautifully when you think about it, because in order to care for self, we must have healthy boundaries and balance in our lives. And then we can give from an overflow. When we're giving from an overflow, that's an awareness of oneness. So it's not out of congruence at all. So with emotions, how do we do that? I'd like to call Jenny Stewart up. She's going to be giving you a personal life example of how this works, how you work with what you see as either negative emotions or how you might perceive someone else's behavior as being something you might not like. Okay, would you go? We should give her we give her a mic, and Dan, you can record this, right? Because I'd like to have this.
I was at a wedding last night, and I raised my joyful voice. So I'm a little hoarse this morning. How is that?
That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
First of all, thank you so much. I'm just so blessed to be here in the presence of all of you. I'm so grateful for this community. I'm so grateful for the unexpected income program that I've really been committed to, doing my affirmations every day and my prayer, and also the class that I'm in, which is meditation and treatment. And so I've been deeply committed in meditating almost every day. So about a week and a half ago, I had a very profound, wonderful meditation on my day off. And I went off to the car shop, took my car for an inspection, knew it had been a little hitchy recently. But still hadn't thought much of that because all is well, all is well.
Put your microphone
And-
next to your mouth, Jenny.
Okay,
There go.
thank you. I know. See, I get all excited. So I go off to the car shop in Kennett Square, and it's a gorgeous day, and I walk up into town, and I go into this little boutique. I was buying a necklace for my niece's wedding, and it was just the store clerk and myself, and having a lovely time. And out of the blue, she launched into a story of racism, just blatant, like right there, against Hispanics. And it was a lot. And I had a moment. I had this, it's hard to put into words because honestly, it was just without words. But I stood there and I went still and I felt God. I felt divine grace. I felt grace come over me. And I stood there and I looked in this woman's eyes, and all I could see was divine beauty. All I could see was love. She's talking and the words are coming out, and I just kept looking and looking and looking. All I could see was her divine self. I knew her innocence. I felt that compassion of true compassion where I thought, you could never say these things. You could never even think these things if you were connected to God, connected to divine, to this universal field of consciousness. And a part of me had a blip of like, do I say something? Do I try to defend? And I knew in my heart and soul that it was a moment to just love this woman. And I stood there and I saw it. I was in the presence of grace. And I wasn't saying a word. And all of a sudden, she just stopped. And there was this shift, and there was this moment that I will always remember and be graced with, of where I knew she felt it. And she stopped in mid-sentence, and all of a sudden went back into jewelry business, and could not have been kinder and nicer. And the whole time we're finishing everything up, I just started blessing her. We covered the gentle art of blessing by Pierre. How do you say his name, Reverend Kathleen?
I'm totally blanking.
Okay. Well, the gentle art of blessing, I think that was August or July. But I have been doing the gentle art of blessing as just a practice in my life. And I immediately went into blessing her, blessing the men she talked about, blessing their families, her family, just a state of grace. So we conduct our business, and off I go. I'm like on the streets of Kennett Square, just like glowing down the street to go back to the car shop. And I get in, and my guy, I've known for 3.5 years, he says, you need a new transmission, and that'll be $4,000. And this is a 4-year-old car with like 76,000 miles on it. So, and I stood there, and I sat there, and I just went, okay, all right. I felt like Reverend Kathleen, okay, all right, let's talk about this. And, everything, I just stayed in that place. He's offered to sell my car for me off his lot for no fees. And he has the perfect car, which I'm driving. He had the perfect car for me to buy. Like, just like this, it just like, all of a sudden it went from this thing that could have been a devastation, a financial debt, to I thought, no, I'm going to trust. This is all, and I really did. And so everything is absolutely working out. I love this car. It's one of my favorite cars I think I've ever driven. So I just feel like I'm in grace wherever I'm going now. And another quick story about unexpected income, and really, I do those affirmations every morning. I write them out 25 times. It had been about a week and a half, and I hadn't had a lot going on yet. And I was like, okay. And I do them early, like 5:45 in the morning. And I'm kind of slogging away one morning. I'm writing them out, and I'm like, oh. And I got halfway through, and I stopped. And I said, whoa, 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 this is not the state of mind. This is made a choice. And I shifted. And I just wrote them with just like enthusiasm and joy, and I'm writing them out. And I go off to work in a state of grace, and I have the most wonderful day. And my boss comes up to me at the end of the day, this is like 10 hours later, and he says, oh, Jenny, I forgot to tell you, we gave you a raise. And I swear, we gave you a raise, and it was retroactive 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
So it had already been happening. It was already happening. So the whole time. Yes. So I'm just so grateful because, it's every morning part of my ritual and devotion is to be a willing vessel, to be a willing instrument. Please use me. And I've continued to grace that woman and bless that woman, and I plan on continuing to bless her, and it gets deeper and deeper with every blessing. And this is how I believe, I can help heal the world.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Jenny. So let's turn within, my friends, and know the truth. Offering our form of prayer, our affirmative prayer that we call spiritual mind treatment. So in knowing that there is only one infinite source, one field of pure potentiality and possibility, I live, move, and have my being in this one, and I know that not only in this one, as this one, and so does each and every being here. Each one of us individualized branches of the one source, playing in this field of pure potentiality and possibility that we know is what the scientists call energy. Knowing that each one of us has the capacity to shape that energy through our thoughts, through our words, through our beliefs, and knowing that each one of us also has the power to shift and change those beliefs that are rooted in separation. So we let go of all belief in lack, all belief in scarcity, all belief in limitation, and we root ourselves in the truth of oneness. We take a breath. We stand in our God selves, realizing we are creating our own universe. We embrace that. And we leave this day in a whole new state of mind, in a whole new state of being, no longer willing to entertain negative thinking, no longer willing to entertain negative thinking, no longer willing to engage in gossip and complaints and put downs, knowing that all of that stuff is harming us. And it's time to let it go. It's time to step into the truth of who we are and to fall in love with our beloved human family. Our beloved human family. We cherish our human family as truly an extension of ourselves. And I'm so grateful for this broad, expansive perspective, knowing that the miraculous is ours for the receiving. So living from this place of the miraculous, living from this place of no worry and lightheartedness, of grace and peace and joy and love, we are truly celebrating and acknowledging and glorifying God. So I give my thanks for this truth. I release this word to the omni-action of a universal law that brings all of that into beautiful, glorious manifestation. And I invite us all to affirm that for ourselves with a rip-roaring yes! And so it is. Amen.